Hello, this is the Every Man Can podcast based on mental strength, how we can use it in our everyday lives, interviewing local people, using their experience, their wealth of experience through their personal journeys and their own professional journeys, how they use it for themselves, how they use it for other people, and hopefully you can take something from it. We hope you enjoy. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Every Man Can podcast. Bit different for us today, isn't it? It's very vibrant. We are in Teesside Park, in Stockton Retail Park, in partnership with Teesside Park and British Land, who have invited us to come today to a jobs fair to host a podcast. So we've got a variety of guests coming on today, and I think already the energy's unbelievable with all the young people coming in.
I've never been to anything like this before, and it's actually absolutely buzzing out there.
You can hear it.
All the different stalls and people milling around.
When you listen to a podcast, and you actually get this audio as if it's fake in the background.
Yeah.
It's actually genuine, and it's just amazing.
So we might have to talk a bit louder today,
yeah,
but really
even louder than we normally do.
Yeah, I think the first thing I've picked up on is young people in our area and across the whole country get bad press. Don't know generally.
I agree.
I think they're targeted as lazy. They're not like we were. They don't go to work. When you look at this here, I mean, I think they're expecting 600 to 800 people through the door today of young people trying to get jobs. So we've got Wagamama here today. We've got KFC. We've got JD. We've got the MFC Foundation, amongst a whole host of other businesses, for young people to go and get a variety of what they want. And the turnout tells me that the young people need some credit.
Because we're inside, I went out just now, and the queue is literally around the corner of the building. They've had to move it, so it goes on the back of the sort of staff car park. It's
brilliant.
Massive. It's amazing. So good to see.
All come to see you, Matt.
That's what it is. New hours here. Thank
Sterling this here. Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, he's here.
I'm behind this board.
So it's going to be a bit of a different podcast today. Hopefully it'll go well. How are you two? Good week?
Fantastic, yeah. Good week, busy if I'm honest, really busy.
Yeah, same.
Normal.
figuring things out between setting up, set up one business, Every Man Can, and setting up another one as well, and going to be figuring out the boundaries for that. But yeah, it's been a great week, good weekend away in Teesdale with the triathlon club as well, having nice residential. So yeah, how about you?
Good.
Yeah,
busy. Well. I'm going away on Friday, so I need to leave here, pack.
Again?
I've got again. First world problems, but yeah, again, I've had another really positive week. So my positive weeks are really starting to build now, rather than a good couple of days and down then back up. So,
are you ready? Are you ready for that thing we talked about? We've been talking about.
Not yet.
Are you sure?
Yeah. There's a lot of complications around that, but no,
okay.
I'm strangely in a really good place.
Good,
but it's nice.
Nice.
So, our first guest today is Catherine Furlong, who works for Teesside Park and British Land. Catherine.
Hello, Matt.
How are you?
I am very good. Yeah.
Good. First and foremost, I think you should be very proud of what you've got here today. I am genuinely amazed at the traffic that's coming through the door, the buzz, the vibrancy, the atmosphere. So, what is it about things like this that make you so passionate?
Well, it's fantastic to see. We've got about 600 young people that have come to, they're mostly young actually, yeah. They're mainly 18 to 24 that have come along to our jobs fair tonight. We've got about 150 vacancies across Teesside Park, all waiting to be filled. Most of them are Christmas vacancies, but some of them potentially could be more long term. And it's just giving young people an opportunity to come and meet with some prospective employers and hopefully get a job at the end of it.
I mean, so how many businesses are at Teesside Park? I've put you on the spot now, haven't I?
You have, because it changes all the time. We've got about 60 odd different brands at Teesside Park, ranging from retail, food and beverage, and leisure operators as well. So I think we're at 63 at the moment, but we've got 4 new ones opening before Christmas. So we're growing. We're a growing family.
So what? Do you know? Until I started work for the foundation, I didn't realise what Teesside Park does for the community and the young people. And I think, do you want to talk a bit more about that? Because I think people come to Teesside Park and go, oh, the Sports Direct, there's Next, and for young people sometimes, if they come here shopping, they might not see what's going on behind the scenes, and I think it's really, really powerful.
Yeah. I think what's happened over the years more recently is we've become the regional shopping centre for the area, so we've become the high street for the Tees Valley. And with the introduction of public transport, because we were very badly served with public transport up until a year ago, we've become more attractive for young people to come and visit us because they can actually get to us, because obviously they don't have a car. So that was the biggest thing. Well, in the last year we've done a lot on public transport and improving that so people can actually get here. But we do 3 programmes each year, and they're kind of embedded into our rhythm and routine, our annual rhythm and routine here at Teesside Park. So we've got 2 education programmes. We work with Middlesbrough Football Club Foundation on a programme called Raise Your Game, and we work with local schools, usually with the Year 9 cohort, and usually, hopefully, if they're doing business studies GCSE, it helps. And it's about raising their confidence levels and getting them to think about the world of business and the world of work. And it's a 6-week programme. They do lots of fun things as well. So they go into, the cinema, Ninja Warrior, do a SWOT analysis, so strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats on Teesside Park and how we can improve things. So it's just improving all of their business acumen. And at the end of it, they do kind of like a Dragon's Den style, which I think you were actually part of.
Yeah,
actually,
I was.
in the last one.
Kidding me?
No, so
Yes. Hold on a second.
no, Richie.
I didn't know about this.
Well, you also didn't know that I represented the Every Man Can brand.
Yeah, I'm out.
So someone dropped out last minute, and I was asked to fill in that role. And actually,
Brilliant.
watching them young people have the confidence to speak in front of, in their eyes, business people.
Yes.
Again, it just highlighted to me what a special area we come from, and what a special breed of young people we have here.
I'm actually just thinking of something as simple as a SWOT analysis, and thinking when you mentioned there about giving them the confidence and just picking those little bits and thinking there was nothing like that when I was sort of young, looking for work. It was kind of like a stuffy old careers office. If you didn't turn up at the right appointment, that was like 2 letters saying 2 different things, really badly organised. But looking at this, the options and the choices here, just to think about that programme that's out there, incredible.
Well, yeah, I mean, I remember walking into my careers advisor at school, and they said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be a footballer. And I was at Middlesbrough at the time, I was at the School of Excellence, and he went, stop being ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're going to have to find something else. Instead of saying, well, let's look at how we get you to there, however, maybe you might want to look at this, because he was right, it was never going to work out. But so how do you advertise this, and how do you, I mean, the footfall is amazing. So how do you get this footfall, and how do you project this out to the young people?
So the power of the brand, the Teesside Park brand is a really powerful brand in the area, but it's about working with other partners and working together. So Middlesbrough Football Club Foundation, we've been in partnership with them for a number of years on various projects, and it's the power, we've just been talking about football, the power of football is really, really strong. We've also worked with the Employment Hub at Stockton, and it's just working together and just getting that message out. We've also hooked up with Teesside University. Stagecoach have run a free bus for us, for the students, a shuttle bus backwards and forwards so they can get here. So it's all, a lot of my job is about relationships and building those relationships to make these projects work. And that's really key to making things a success.
I've read loads of articles about the importance of young people now coming into work. Consider how employers look after them.
Yeah.
To be way more important than actually sometimes the content of the everyday life. Actually, how much does my employer care about me? How do they demonstrate that? Is that quite a big deal for employers here?
I think so. We've got some really big brands here tonight. We've got some new brands that are quite new to Teesside Park, the likes of Wagamama and Ninja Warrior, and you can see how young people are actually homing in on those brands. And I've just been talking to a couple of our guys that are taking part in the Bright Lights programme and finding out where they're applying for. And they're applying to Showcase because that whole movie scene really appeals to them. I suppose they get to watch a few for free. That's a big hook.
So, for yourselves and Teesside Park, what is... I know the hope is that people get as much employment as they can, but I suppose looking at it from a parent's point of view as well, my son's just started a bar job in Redcar, and
Brilliant.
I had apprehensions around it, and I'm getting amazing feedback, and again probably me not giving him enough credit about, but I think things like this and the aspirations you're trying to build is, yes, you might get a job here, but also it's having the confidence to go off into the working world elsewhere, and it doesn't have to be just at Teesside Park.
Absolutely. I'm glad that your son's got a position, because we were talking a few weeks ago about that, weren't we? And this is the thing, because I'm a mum to 2 teenage boys. I've got an 18-year-old and a 14-year-old, and they've actually both got a job. I mean, my 18-year-old's just done his A-levels and he's taken a year out. He's going to go travelling next year. And he's got a job at our local hotel, local Premier Inn, and he's just been promoted to a duty manager, unbelievably. He's got management experience, but they've obviously seen something in him to progress him. Just 18 years old, bless him. And he does ring me up sometimes on the night shift at 10 o'clock saying, "Mum, this has happened, what do you think I should do?" So it's really... Some kids don't have that support at home, so with our Bright Lights programme, that kind of makes up for that lack of support that they might have in at home. And every young person needs a leg up. Every young person needs support, because they just need that, that support mechanism to help them do the right thing.
On mental strength these days, a lot, especially in educational environments, there's a lot of conversation about how... I speak to a lot of teachers, a lot of educators, and a lot of them will say the system isn't really set up very well for the current, for everything we know about anyone, about how we should best treat people. And obviously the conversation is often around, to treat people equally, you've got to treat them differently. So they have different needs. They might have learning differences, for example. Is that kind of some of the way that Bright Lights works? Does it cater it well to the individual needs in that way?
I think so. I mean, our group this year are very, from what I can see, are very, very different. And you know what? Everybody's different, aren't they? And young people are just still finding their way. 18, 19, 20-year-olds. They don't know themselves yet, do they? And putting them in different situations helps them develop and to become older. And I think, as you get older as well yourself, then you do find yourself changing over the decades. But we've got fantastic support on our Bright Lights programme, and the foundation have done a fantastic job facilitating it. Young people have gone into work placement, so there's 2 weeks of work placement in the project, and they're in the second week of work placement. And from what I can gather, they're finding their way and developing through that, being placed into work for the first time.
Someone's got a job, right?
I think 2 people have got jobs.
Permanent jobs. So,
yes. So far.
Through my work with the foundation, I've had the privilege to touch base with the young people in Bright Lights. So they get taught how to fill in a CV, they get taught about conflict. So I did a piece of work with them around, you might get a customer that's difficult. How are you going to deal with that? What does conflict management look like to you? And what's the best way to deal with that? Then they get the work placements. Then they get to go and experience Ninja Warrior. Then, and Darren from Nike, we're going to speak to later, Marianne from Hollywood Bowl, they open up the doors to the background of what Nike is, what Hollywood Bowl is. So for young people, it's an amazing thing. And I think, to round off speaking to you, Catherine, I think you should be very, very proud of what you're doing for people in our area. And speaking from someone who was really, really passionate about where we live. I always say if I won a lot of money, I wouldn't be too far away from here. I'd obviously be abroad somewhere every now and then, but my base would always be here, because I think we're honest. I think we have a fantastic core of older, middle-aged and young people who can all support each other, and this is just a fantastic mechanism of showcasing that.
Yeah, we are really proud of it. So proud of the turnout tonight. It's been amazing. We didn't know what to expect because this is our first jobs fair. We've not done this before. We've, as you mentioned earlier, we've got a queue snaking around the back. If all those jobs can go, there's no reason why not tonight, and we can make this a massive success, and we will do it every year. And that's, going back to that embedded routine. If we get a jobs fair at Teesside Park going each before Christmas, job done. Excuse me.
Can we ask about mental strength, Matt?
Yeah. So
specifically,
we ask most of our guests on our ordinary podcast. We ask about what is mental strength to you, but I think for this, and hopefully a lot of young people will listen to this who are here tonight or might be interested in coming next year. What would you say to them around what do you do for your own mental well-being, but when you have knockbacks and when companies don't get back to you and you think, oh, well, why? And what advice would you give to them?
Never give up and just keep on going. I know it's difficult, and if you're getting a number of knockbacks, then it is quite hard to get back up and running. But just keep that strength and keep going, because you always find that it will come good in the end, and if you put that effort in, and sometimes it can be really, really hard work, it will pay off. I'm a big believer in there's something out there for everyone, and it's just a matter of finding it, and some find it quicker and some it takes slightly longer, but just keep going, never give up.
And just one last question from me, Catherine, is what about your own mental state? Do you have any particular activities or that you do in your own life that helps you to maintain what we call mental strength?
Well, I'm a runner, and I've been a runner for many, many years, and now I'm getting to be an old lady runner. But and I'm not very quick anymore, and I don't go as far. But that's the best thing for me, is to keep plodding those streets. I don't do gym, I don't do anything else, but it's my thinking time, and that is what keeps me sane.
Fantastic. Well, Catherine, be proud. All of you should be very, very proud, and I've had the privilege to get to know you a bit more over the past few months, and it's a brilliant thing you're doing. So good luck tonight.
Thank you.
And enjoy it if you can. Take care.
We'll have a drink afterwards.
Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine. Lovely to meet you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, guys.
So welcome back. We're now joined by Darren from Nike and Marianne from Hollywood Bowl. You both okay?
It's good.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good. So we've just had a really, really interesting conversation with Catherine around the work they do at Teesside Park and British Land for the young people in this area. And I suppose, firstly, thank you for joining us. We know it's a big commitment and you're probably really busy tonight, but Marianne first. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you do and where you work? And
I work for Hollywood Bowl, so I am the centre manager at Teesside Park. We've got 41 employees at the moment, so we've got quite a big team, and I take care of all of them.
Okay. Darren?
I'm Darren, the head coach of Nike. I think that I'm probably a bit more like a guy for the community as well as a head coach, and try and do a lot outside of store as well. We had a team of 40 as well in store, and lots of different people from lots of different places. Pretty amazing team, very diverse team that I work with, and been with Nike for 17 years now, and really enjoying every day. Really privileged and humbled to be working for an amazing brand.
So, two big brands, I suppose, Hollywood Bowl and Nike. So the questions we want to start to discuss today. Obviously, we're at a jobs fair where I'm blown away by the amount of young people that have come. I mentioned earlier on that young people in this country, in this area, in the northeast as a whole, probably get a bit of a bad press around violence, antisocial behaviour. We touched on it earlier that people brand them as lazy. They don't want to go to work. They're not as enthusiastic as we used to be when I was that age, and I think this is changing the rhetoric of that from what I've seen tonight, and having got teenage kids myself, one 17 who's just found work in a bar and he's getting really good praise, and I think it's a really powerful thing. So the first question I want to ask is, and Marianne, I'll come to you first, is what is the negative side that you find as a brand, as yourselves, and as a business of employing young people? What are the difficulties that you're facing in relation to that?
I think a really big thing for young people now is actually that understanding of hospitality, I think, and retail, and the customer-facing role. So we talk quite a lot about flexible working, and we're really lucky where we are that we're open 364 days a year, 16 hours a day. So there is a huge variety of shifts. But you do get young people, when they're not surrounded by people who work in hospitality and retail, they will come to you and say, oh, I can't work Saturday, I'll make up my hours on Wednesday. Is that actually, it doesn't work like that where we are. And I think sometimes there's that lack of understanding when they're seeing other people, especially post-COVID, with the kind of working from home kind of situations, that there is that lack of understanding. We are totally customer facing and totally customer focused, and that's how our rosters are.
Darren?
Yeah, I'm touched on like something really good. I think expectations is like a massive part of maybe is what young people don't understand. I think to get a chance to work for like either Hollywood Bowl or Nike, it's like a huge honour, to be fair, and I don't think they quite understand how much a huge honour that is. And maybe then don't want to give the best within the store, which is quite disappointing. For me, I think it's also maybe they don't understand like time management, or it's not okay not to be at work, and like you have to go to work and you have to be the best that you can be. You know what? For me, if they can be amazingly consistent at a high level every day, then that you get a chance to then play for the big boys and play with the big teams. And I think it's just like it's trying to get them to understand really those things. I think there's also something like, obviously like the red tape stuff, like obviously somebody who's really young, like can't climb a ladder in Nike, you know, things like that. So then there's those sort of things as well, can't work too many hours. So there's the other things that stop them from maybe also progressing, like through red tape and legal stuff.
So with young people as well, I've heard a few things. So since I've been able to work alongside Teesside Park with my day job at the foundation, I've heard like a few comments around difficulties are, I didn't realise I had to work that late, or I didn't realise I couldn't get a bus there, and actually it's not for me. Do you find, and Darren, I'll come to you first, but do you find, Darren, that is an issue as well? A bit of they haven't done the research around coming here, what it involves, to just sort of apply for a job at Nike and that's how it'll be?
Yeah, no, I think you're definitely right. I think they definitely don't understand what it takes to come and work for like a massive brand, or even in retail in general. And it's hard work. You know, like I think some people think, oh, you just sell shoes and clothes in Nike, but you just don't. Like there's just like lots more facets to our work, and athletes in our store have to do like a lot of things that they just didn't realise that they had to do. And then trying to get them to understand those things is a massive part of like my job and our leadership job, to try and make sure that they are doing what they need to do. But I think they just don't understand that expectation.
Do you find that as well, Marianne? Like people might but people might turn up for like a shift and you don't see them again, so then you're back into the recruitment process again.
I don't think we see so much of that. We're really upfront with actually what our job is, and with a really robust like recruitment event, and then we do kind of like a opportunity to come into the centre. We'll always do that on a Saturday afternoon. We're really clear on the opportunities. I think maybe at the point of application, people probably think, oh, I'll work on reception and I'll hand out bowling shoes. But throughout that recruitment process, we're really clear that there's so much to it, but actually it's all opportunity. It's all really great opportunities to learn and get those skills for later. So I think most of our young people do start knowing what it is. Possibly at the recruitment point, we might lose people. We might make a job offer and they might go, this is bigger than I thought. And we probably lose them there.
I just want to, obviously, I'm guessing this, but retail and hospitality since COVID took the biggest hit, probably in a lot of sectors. I would imagine retail, more online sort of stuff. But you touched on it, Marianne, earlier about the working from home. And I think one of the only positives to come out of COVID is it has offered people a bit of flexibility if you're trusted. But obviously, in the world you work in, working from home's not an option.
This is the service industry though, isn't it, Matt? Service and retail. I used to work in retail, and like you could have your busy days. You'd have certain weekends where you're doing certain promotions, where you know it'd be absolutely rammed. You've got Christmas, right, coming up, where retail is actually probably one of the busiest times of the year. What I'm really interested in as well is the balance between. It's absolutely right what you said, Darren, about kind of it's a privilege to work for certain brand and so on, and like you're obviously feeling that. But how would you balance that with people's individual needs as an employer, like to be let's say like a responsible employer, to get that balance right as well?
I think you've got to understand, like every athlete in store, every leader in store, like everybody's individual. So like, you know what, I don't treat, or you can't treat one person the same as the other person, because different things flick different people switches, and it's like trying to like work and find out what those switches are and how you're going to flick them on for those people. I mean, from like a benefit point of view in Nike, there's like a lot of support that they get, whether it be mental health, whether it be support with everything in life, with the employee assistance program. So there's a huge amount of support, like either in store but outside the store as well. Yeah. That's 24/7. So the team are really well supported in what we do. And we do like a lot of wellbeing stuff in store as well, whether that be like mindfulness stuff in store, meditate, do some breathing exercises on some ones before we start work. So there's a lot of things that we can do, but also that they can do themselves as well. Like, you know, if they have an idea, they want to bring it forward, you know, I'm happy to say like, yeah, let's run with it, let's give it a go, let's give it a try.
Fantastic.
I'm really interested as well, and I know Marianne, I spoke to you just before we started this around. I find it quite frustrating as a parent of a teenager. So my son, he's tried to apply for stuff, and I find the world of Indeed a bit strange, and for a young person it's quite daunting. I don't hear back from anyone. No one gets back in touch with me. So from that point of view, but then I also want to ask about you're not experienced enough. So I always say, well, if someone says to you that in an interview or on a telephone conference, kick back at them and say, well, I appreciate that, but if I don't get the opportunity, how do I get that opportunity? And I think that's really important. But as well, just it's a double-sided question I'll ask you both, and I'll come to Marianne first with it, is, so you have a young person present in front of you, say a 17-year-old, never been given an opportunity, but they turn around and say, look, on a Saturday I play football, or I do hockey, or I do another sport. And actually, when you speak to them, what that sport does for them around the mental health, the physical health, the communication, the teamwork, the friendships, all of the skills that sports build are important to business as well, and important to your working life. Is that something that you accommodate as well?
Absolutely. So because of our working hours, we've got the opportunity to give people that time off, and they've got the opportunity to tell us what time off they want. So if you work 16 hours and you don't want to work Wednesday, you just input that online, and so long as I've got space to give you Wednesday off, you can have it. It's not an issue. So we use rolling on availability, we use ad hoc on availability, and they have got the opportunity to kind of create their own work-life balance. But I would also say, to the experience side of things, young people need to draw on that. When I interview people and we get to those kind of what are you going to bring to the role questions, you do get a lot of young people who go, oh, well, I don't know, I've never had a job before. But actually, that ability to draw on the sports and the other things they do outside of employment, it's really important to be able to say, actually, I'm committed to doing this. And they do sometimes forget to draw on those really positive experiences they've got.
Darren?
I want to try and take back the start a little bit, because maybe it's even just like, I'll try and give you an example when you say about maybe you don't get any acknowledgement or any feedback from an application. So our last part-time job that we advertised, we had 400 applicants. That needs to be like sourced through talent acquisition team in London, and then we try and get the best of that. So we try and give the specification what we think we need, whether that be somebody who's 16 or that's somebody who's 86, whatever the age want to be, who can work for 90. But it's really trying to like sift through the best people. I think CV is a massive part of it. You know what I'm looking for is maybe for Nike, somebody who maybe does work in the community as well. You know, you might be 16, but you might still done some community work. So we have like somebody in store now who does like a lot of refereeing, and she's 16 and she's absolutely amazing. But so when you see that CV, you think, you know what, I could give that person a chance, because I can see that they're trying to push themselves further and do more within their life. So, and then you get like a lot of CVs where it's just like it's the same thing, and like there's no experience, and it's just like, oh, this is my qualifications. I want to come work with Nike, but why do you want to come up and work for Nike for? What's the reason? I need you to need to see you, and I think that's really like critical.
That is fascinating to me, that, because so for both of you seem to have been saying really strong things about recognise exactly what other experiences you've got, which are sort of like transferable experiences into a workplace. But you're also saying actually what's really attractive to you as an employer, as a manager, and is actually people who have got their own experiences from community, whether it's been volunteering, to bring to it. So there's a strong message for young people: find something that you enjoy, give your time to it, and then take that into your interview as well. Is that fair? Is that?
Yeah, I think it's a fair comment.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So, might sound a bit controversial. Do you think then, coming out of a secondary school setting into this big bad world of employment and job fairs, do you think we're doing enough in education to prepare our young people? So CVs, for example, really. So some young person might be a carer for a parent, and they might have to go and get prescriptions. They might have to get involved in community events, but they want to keep that quiet. That, to me, in a CV is massively powerful. So, in a secondary school setting, do you think we're giving these young people that confidence to really go out and go, yeah, I'm a carer for my parent, and actually, this is the skills it's given me?
I think that would definitely do a lot more, like in our secondary schools, but definitely more as a brand as well, to really get out there and inspire those kids to, to have the confidence to go and mention those things that they are doing outside of just the normal school stuff. But yeah, for me, there's definitely more that we can do as a brand to really like shape their futures.
And AI's not helping, right? Because you can now online CV AI done, send it off, and then it gets to the interview stage, and you're saying, all right, okay, you're saying you've got good communication skills. Give me an example. Because AI's wrote it out for them. So I think what I'm getting from this is we need to go maybe back a bit to year 9, 10, 11 and really start to look at how we helped our young people who don't want to go into further education, really help them with how they can apply for work.
I mean, I think also like there's stuff like work experience. So for Nike, work experience doesn't exist anymore now, just because of all the red tape. And for me, that was one of the major things when I was in school. That work experience was a really that's going to shape me. I know what sort of work ethic I need to get in the workplace now. I know what I need to do. I know what I need to bring to an employer. But I think not having those experiences is really difficult. And I understand why we don't do it. But I also think that we can still definitely do more to try and give these kids experience in other ways.
I think there's that self-esteem thing as well, though, that actually that could be done through education, that people are proud of the experiences that they've had and the experience that they've got, whether it's through caring or whether it's through sports, that they learn to shout about those things. And we're not good, are we, as people, at shouting about what we're good at? And I think there's definitely room in education to help young people kind of just be proud, because that's what you're looking for at interview, right? You're looking for people who are proud of what they do, who are able to recognise their achievements, because that's what you want as an employer. You want them to bring that to your business and be proud to work for you.
I love that, and I think I keep using my son because he's 17, and I get it. He's a confident lad. He's got a good social circle. But deep down, can he do them skills? And I think because when you're not academic and when you're not a flyer at school, you're kind of labelled, and there's a real opportunity somewhere for that to become a real strong part of building your CV, building his self-esteem and confidence to sit in front of adults and go, look, I haven't got the experience you've got. I might come from a deprived background. I don't play sport, but this is what I can give you. And I think young people, we really need to work on that. We really do.
I'm kind of my reflection here is I've got a 17-year-old son who's currently working at a restaurant. He's at college, and I know how much work myself and his mum put in to kind of preparing him and building up his social skills, and actually, chucking questions at him when we sat watching, I don't know, having a break watching a film, and sort of like going, like, I'm going to ask you this question, what's your answer going to be? Think about it, think yourself through those situations and visualise yourself answering those. And he's at first, of course, it's something new. And actually making those examples for the kids that don't have that, and let's be honest, there will be kids that don't have that at home, having those conversations, that sets them back. They're disadvantaged just because they're not having that encouragement. So programmes like the ones you've talked about with the MFC Foundation, with the right kids, giving them the confidence, giving them the practice, giving them that resilience, and understanding what they have got to offer. And let's be honest, every kid has something to offer. It's like playing to their strengths, isn't it, basically? Some kids wouldn't suit working in Nike, wouldn't suit retail, but they might do with the right kind of support. And for other kids in Hollywood Bowl, it's like they might not realise what they've got, suddenly fall into it, and you go, you're a star. You're an absolute star because you're just playing to their strengths, basically.
But that's what we take over as employers after, and that positive recognition is so important in retention, that when somebody comes to work for you, that you take the time to go, you've done a great job today. And I've had 17-year-olds, we use these positive reinforcement cards, and if someone does a great job, and when we first got them, I was like, people are going to hate this. Like, who wants a card off their manager? The difference that it makes when you give a 17-year-old a card that says, I've seen you today and you've done an amazing job, and to then walk past the corridor and hear a girl outside on the phone to her dad saying, my manager gave me this card and I've done a really great job, and you go, do you know what, I've not just made a difference to an employee, to an actual human being, right? To this girl who now knows that she does a great job at work. I've no doubt her parents put in all of the same work as you're talking about, and then when you as parents hand them over to us, it's our job to go, you're still amazing, okay? Your parents are not here now, but we know you're amazing.
Do you speak?
Yeah. I think it is a massive part of the process is building the kids' resilience up. It's absolutely huge. I think for us, it's like it's okay when you say like a consumer, like if a consumer says no to you, that's okay. That shouldn't like make you day or not make you day. It should be just like that's just part of your day. And I think what Marianne said, just about these positive reinforcements, like to build your resilience over time, it takes a lot. Like you've got to have that knockbacks, you've got to have that constructive criticism and the feedback that's needed. And if kids can understand that and like see feedback is a way to grow. I mean, I try and say if out of my mouth, it's not because I'm trying to upset you or hurt you. It's because I really care about you. Because I could easily let you feel, but I don't let you feel. I want you to be a success.
So how will you deal with making mistakes? And like it used to be like, I don't know about you, but when I was young and I was in a workplace, man, I'd make some efforts to cover up my mistakes sometimes. And then when I realised, I got to a point quite early on, and it was actually a great manager very early on, who was like, look, we have an open, it's about being open. It's like, I don't expect you to be perfect all the time. And just those words, I remember to now. And so I'd probably say the same to both of you. What was it like? Can you remember when you were a young person starting your career? What would you say now to yourself as a younger person coming into a career? From your own experiences, what it was like for you when you were there, Marianne?
Ask for help. It's absolutely okay to need a hand. And I don't think I knew that when I started working. It was like, I need to work this out on my own. Everyone's going to think I'm stupid. I do think that we've made positive change around that, though. I think employers are better at that. I hope all of them are. I think we're certainly better at going, like you say, if you get it wrong, tell me, you can work it through. If you cause a bigger problem, it's going to be a bigger problem.
Yeah, I think younger people have got better at that. I think there's a lot of stuff. I don't know, if I see the average Instagram, TikTok kind of messages are out there about building people up, the way to live your life, and I think about other podcasts like Joe Rogan and all this kind of stuff that everyone's listening to. I think there's a lot more of that going on as well. What about yourself? What do you think?
I mean, I think one of the things I always say is be honest and do the right thing. If you can do that is a starting point, then it's really easy. I mean, I think back to my career, I had some really brutal bosses, by the way, who didn't mince with the words, and it was a lot. Back in the day, there was not the support networks that we've got now in place to try and get the employees to where they need to be. So to be fair, you have to build your resilience really fast, because you know what, in for it if you didn't do what you needed to do. So where I think now we're just not in the same sort of space where we were like 30 years ago when I first started my retail career. So I think I think it was quite easy for me to build resilience up because it was just like you had to, because it was like if you didn't, you just didn't last.
So, forgetting young people for a minute, because young people start the job and you're the big bad boss and you daren't talk to them. I think it's massively important as well now that they get to know you as a person as well. And that's not opening the book up of, this is what I'm about. But I think once you have that connection with someone as a boss, and I get the impression, and Darren, I know I've met you before and we've done stuff, and I know you're clearly passionate about what you're doing. And I'll come to you first, Darren, because I know you said you do stuff in the community. So do you think that's important to share that story as well around you, whatever struggles you've had in the past, whatever, resentment you've had from bosses, to give them that confidence that they can come to you?
I mean, I think it's massively important, like my story is like quite long and quite detailed, but I've had some like massive struggles in my life, and I don't mind speaking to the staff about my mental health issues and how that's affected me, but also how it's made us into the person I am today. Because I still do some amazing things and work on some amazing projects, but I still have like lots of mental health issues, and I think that's okay to say that. And I don't think you should be scared to say that you struggle, because like everybody struggles, and it's just part of life. I mean, obviously my story is that I lost my son like 12 years ago now. 12 years ago this week, by the way, and I got myself in some really dark holes and really dark spaces. But like from that, I've saw some and I work with some amazing people now. I have my own charity now that helps like disabled kids around the northeast, and we have some amazing experiences, show them the possibilities in their life as well, and really try and make those kids like shine and have the confidence as well, to achieve and do those special things. So I think it's definitely okay to open up to your team about who you are and what you're about. I think that just makes you a human. I think sometimes what you said before, like they see you as a big bad boss, but really you're just human. Like you're just the same as them, but just a little bit older. That's all.
It's really interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. I think we're very privileged on this podcast to be able to speak to many people who've been at very dark places. And obviously the mere fact that we're still chatting to them and having that conversation means there's been a great recovery generally as well. But it gives you insight, doesn't it? And I'm sure that converts to compassion for people who you're working with, who you brush it with in life. What's the name of the charity, by the way?
It's named after my son, so it's Joseph George Fussell Charity. And we're just like a local charity, just tell people in the northeast, the kids in the northeast, but we do a lot of things. We've done a few things with kids in Berra as well, and in Bishop Auckland, so we're reaching down as far as but I get me some amazing people and do some great things.
Yeah, it doesn't get much harder than that. And I just think it's a good message. I mean, it's not that some people learn resilience a bit like kind of just lifting up a bit of soil and moving it to another part to fill up a little planter in your garden, and then for others they get the whole load dumped on them at once and they've got to dig their way out of it, quite a dark way. But it's fantastic to hear that. There's and in terms of talking about resilience,
Marianne, I'll come to you we're gonna wrap up now. When you look at your journey, and Darren will come to you in a minute, just for some advice around what would you say to young people now around if you're struggling, if your confidence is low, looking back at the knockbacks that we've all had in life, what would you do, and what piece of advice would you give around looking after your own well-being?
Absolutely reach out to people around you, and actually it doesn't have to be your best friend, it doesn't have to be your mum, it doesn't have to be the people closest to you. Sometimes you find the best comfort with people who don't know you. We talk quite a lot, like in our team, about like the bucket, about actually how full is your bucket, and you don't have to share everything, you just have to be able to say, I'm not okay right now. So actually say when you're not okay, when your bucket's full, tell people. And they're the people that will help you make sure that your bucket doesn't overfill, that you can actually that you can find those things, you can find those walks, that exercise, whatever it is, whatever your thing is, whether it's gardening or spending time outside, whatever your thing is, sometimes strangers can be the kindest people.
Darren,
I think it's maybe quite different to what's been said there, because I would agree as well. Like speak up. You know, like it's okay, as Marianne says, it's okay not to be okay. That's fine, by the way. You know what? But if you speak and tell us about when you first start your shift as an athlete in our store, then you know what, then that can make your day a lot better. But if you tell us 5 minutes before you end your shift, then really it's a really struggle to help you. I would definitely say as well, like the coping strategies. Like I have like a lot of coping strategies that I use, when I'm thinking I'm going through a dark space, I know what I need to do and where I need to get myself out of that dark space, and that also takes a lot of time to work them things out and work what's right for you. But I would say definitely, speak's the key thing.
That's actually awesome. I think like the idea of the fact that both of you as well, like we're all human, we can all have our dark days as well, and you're looking after your teams. Who's looking after you guys at work?
I think my team, to be honest. Yes. I get so much back from them, like seeing people grow, seeing other people get through things. I've worked for Hollywood Bowl for 15 years. I've took on students who have bought their first homes and gone through getting mortgages and have bought cars, learned to drive, had kids, actually through other people's achievements sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I mean, like my chats with my boss as well, like I would say our first 10 or 15 minutes is all about each other, and like how we're doing and how we're feeling, and what can we do to support each other like throughout the week, which is like really key. Again, like I think at Nike it's a real safe space to really like tell people how you really feel without like any sort of prejudice, like, oh well, and I think that's amazing to be. Also I have like an amazing family, like my daughter, my wife and my mum and dad are just like an amazing support to me, and probably without them I wouldn't be the person I would be today. And in some respects I probably wouldn't be maybe here.
It's fantastic to hear from both of you. We need more of that, that's for sure.
100%, and thank you to both. It's been a really insightful conversation, and I said that the 20 minutes would turn into something a bit longer, and it has, but this is the power of speaking, and this is the power of sharing our stories so we can help all of these just wonderful young people in our area. And first and foremost, thank you from someone who cares about the area for what you're doing, employing local people. I think it's an amazing thing, and long may it continue. But thank you for it tonight. It's been really insightful, and hopefully we'll get to speak soon. All right, take care. Well, what a great insight that was. I thought from Catherine to Darren to Marianne, it just showed for me what Teesside Park are doing with British Land and for their first job fair. So I just want to say I got told they were expecting 400-600 through the door, and I think they've had 1,200 so far. And I just sat here, the amount of people that have come through has been absolutely phenomenal. And again, the positive power of engaging and giving young people a choice and an option, and then letting them meet employees face to face and stuff. But really good. A couple of takeouts from me from that. Very different podcast for us. So we're based on mental health, mental strength. And for all we asked the questions around what do you do for yourself, all of that came out anyway. So I think around we should be helping young people more to do interviews, write the CVs, be confident in what you're doing, give them that self-esteem. But also as well, for what Darren said at Nike around doing breathwork and meditation with his staff and having that self-awareness. And then Marianne from Hollywood Bowl talking about how they discuss if your bucket's not full, that's fine. And that goes back to the stuff we did with Tough to Talk, when they were saying and it's really important, you could walk into work one day and your boss goes, where you're at? I'm at 20. Well, the rest of us will be your 80. And they're the massive takeouts from me today. But the passion of our employers, as in Nike, Hollywood Bowl, and we've been very privileged to speak to them today, and I noticed Darren uses phrases such as the athletes who work at Nike. So when you're employed by Nike, you're called an athlete, so but that makes them feel really inclusive into that brand. And what I found as well, when we were asking questions around barriers, they just had the answers, and the passion came through, and I think it's been an amazing event and a privilege to be here, really.
It wasn't what I expected, I've got to say. For me, that awareness of kind of how it was really interesting to see how employment and the approach to it has changed. When I'm 46 now, do you know what I mean? So when I was their age looking for jobs and stuff, it was a case of like first one in the door, do you know what I mean? And kind of start, how can I put it? It's just like there was never even any consideration in my mind of like how they would care about my well-being. I just thought they'd care about me getting the job done and being there, that's it. But the way things have changed now, especially with the next generation, they're sort of demanding that. But the flip side to that is actually this conversation about how they see their role in developing those young people going forward as well. So not just like they're looking at the individual differences between those who are working for them. And there was much more talk about kind of with rather than under me, like managing them. It was kind of like when we're asking about who manages you, we're open with each other, we have an open culture, we recognise we're all human beings and that kind of thing. It's like, wow, things really have changed out there quite a bit, haven't they?
I think, Matt, for you as well, like you're someone who's got a business and you're really looking to grow that business. I mean, you've had discussions around like you'd love to get young people involved, but this must give you like a lot of hope and a lot of like optimism that you can approach these young people and you can help them.
Absolutely. So we were just talking to Nicola at the end there, retail manager of the whole park, Teesside Park, and one big key thing what I loved here was, which I didn't really I suppose it's a very obvious thing, but the amount of CVs that have gone in today, I think one employer got 400 CVs tonight in 2 hours. That's mental. And they have to go through every single one. But the big opportunity for them young people and individuals is to be face to face with that employer, because like if they're just going through, they can't see personality and eye contact and how are they dressing and how do they, if it's a front of house type of role, how do they come across? Are they shy? Well, I'm not going to employ them, but they can then see that. So for me, that opportunity, and you did right going towards
that
massive.
That there was that point that they all agreed with that the place where my son works at the moment. When she said, I get all these CVs and they're all the same basically, but all I really want to know is what do they want to do? And actually, like and they all agreed with it. And when I've reflected that off them, it's like simply, that's one thing that can stand out. It's like, this is what I want to do. Yeah. So actually, zoning in a little bit on kind of like, I know what you do. I've done a bit of research. This is what I want to do in your business. It's like, that's it. That can make the difference.
That's massive.
It's like what?
Yeah.
So simple,
yeah.
But like kind of.
Because going back to what Matt's saying there, if I wanted to grow my social media business, okay, yeah, I want someone that's like, I love cameras, or I love social media. That's an amazing start, but looking at someone that's just got English and maths, brilliant, that's great if they have, but having that passion of just going, because funny enough, when we were recording, I seen a few people obviously looking at what I was doing, and one lad came over and he said, what are you doing? He was so passionate because it was cameras, he loved cameras, and I was thinking, there you go, that is why I want to try and connect with people that love cameras or video or whatever it may be, and just and that's where I think the employees would have benefited today from Teesside Park, finding out what are you passionate about. And going back to the whole Nike thing, I just have to say that I love the way they say athletes.
Yeah.
I love that about their staff. Just makes you feel fantastic. And wanting to be and lift you.
And something Marianne said around giving staff a card and then watching them go to ring their parents, that my manager said I've done well. We're very, very quick to criticise.
Yeah, absolutely.
At work and everything, and we're very quick to pull out the negatives, but really when someone has just done something so small, a little email just to the boss or a little email to their line manager, look, I saw so-and-so doing something really good, just give them a pat on the back. And for young people, that's all they want is validation.
Exactly.
Because I'm looking at my son now, he's working in a bar, and I'm in contact with the bar manager. He's 17 and he has to look at and I'm trying to say, how does he look at the rota so I can help him along? So he's doing that. And the feedback I'm getting from her, like, he's one of the only young ones who starts, who engages with the older staff. So he was like, well, why wouldn't I? And as a parent as well, like, you've got to let them go and fly, don't you? And it's hard. But when you're getting praise about your own kids like that as well, it's not that means that you've done a good job, but you're looking at it thinking, God, I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of him. And every parent of every child that's walked through this door today whether you knew they were here or not, should be massively proud of these young people, because life round here is hard, it's tough. We've discussed off camera and off mic tonight about town centres dying off and retail parks becoming the answer. There's not many places for these young people to go, but some of them I've noticed have got dressed up, they've put the nice trainers on, there's a couple of lads in suits, there's girls, like, really made an effort. And yeah, for me it's been a really beautiful thing to see it, and I go back to it being passionate about this area and young people in this area. It's been amazing, and I want to thank Teesside Park for giving us the space. I want to thank them for giving us the opportunity to allow people to have a voice, and hopefully this will open up a discussion for time to come, where people are more comfortable around talking around barriers and positive things that they face in employment.
Absolutely.
The Mental Strength podcast has just opened up another new door for me. And I wasn't too sure about this event. I couldn't quite get my head around, first of all, why we were coming. That sounds really weird, but I was like, okay. And then you started to talk about, well, the nature of mental strength, their experience coming through this, how are they pitching themselves, the confidence to walk in the door in the first place. Loads of people around can be quite intimidating. Even that, they'll walk out of here, having walked in here, a little bit more resilient, a little bit more like, yeah, do you know what I mean? Just look around you, there's a lot of stuff going on here. It's like, and I went in and I had a go. But this is the very nature, not even just for young people, but basically the nature of mental strength, the way the employers are kind of engaging with it as well. To me, it's kind of fascinating, actually. And actually, their own considerations, how tuned in they are to different individuals who have different strengths about them, that might not always be picked up in school, like in an academic environment, but in different workplaces, they've got real, they might really shine as well. Which is great. I didn't even know any of this stuff was going on.
I agree, and I think it's a good place to end. It's a good place to finish off what's been a really, really interesting conversation and impactful. And I've took a lot out of it, and I think gives me some stuff to reflect on. So yeah, hope you enjoy it. Hope you take stuff from it, and if you are embarking on an adventure of trying to get work and employment, really, really the best of luck, and have a listen to this, and you'll pick up some good tips of some amazing people from amazing brands. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. See you, man.